Federico was excited to have his picture taken with a polar bear. Suddenly he felt a bite on his arm. Federico looked at the small wound and paid no attention to it. In that evening, Federico realized that the wound was slightly infected. Federico put a simple bandage on the wound. The next day, Federico felt that the wound was itchy, and there was blood coming out of the gauze. Federico was about to open the wound to take a closer look when Baker interrupted him. It wasn't until he saw the strange bugs crawling around the polar bear that he realized the seriousness of the problem. Federico opened the wound on his arm. Strange little bugs were also appearing underneath the wound. Federico finally realized that he was infected with a strange virus. To save his life, Federico took out a machete. Jack and Ross said they couldn't do it. Federico insisted that he had to do it. Jack injected Federico's arm with an anesthetic. Ross swings the machete and cuts off Federico's large arm. Jack burned the arm that fell to the ground. Where did this virus come from? With global warming? The glaciers at the North Pole are slowly melting. David's Arctic team spotted a polar bear munching on something. They tranquilized the bear with a tranquilizer gun. The team found an ancient mammoth under the ice, and with the mammoth came the resurrection of a mysterious virus inside it. To strengthen the team, David invited some interns to the North Pole. David set up a tent on top of the mammoth to keep an eye on it. When Jack and Ross entered the lab, they smelled the stench of corpses. The polar bear on the lab bench was already dead. Ross found an unconscious Annie in the helicopter. When Ross tries to fly the helicopter to look for the drug, the helicopter is destroyed. When Annie woke up, she had green foam coming out of her mouth. Jack and Ross find some kind of strange creature inside the mammoth carcass in the team's tent. The bodies of the team members were found next to the tent. When Jack and Ross returned, Annie was dead. Annie's stomach had the same strange creature as the mammoth's. The same thing was found on a polar bear's body. Ross found a notebook in Annie's backpack. It contained detailed information about the virus. The polar bear in the operating room was crawling with bugs. Ross met a badly injured Professor David outside the house. Ross and Jack spilled gasoline on the floor of the lab. Professor David's plan is discovered through the video he shot. David was trying to draw attention to global warming. He implanted an ancient microbe into his body. He was going to use his body to take this horrible creature out of the North Pole. To stop David, Jack jumped onto the landing gear of a helicopter. Jack fell off the helicopter and died. Ross grabbed his shotgun and fired at the helicopter. The helicopter hit in the fuel tank, crashed right into the lab. The lab went up in flames. In the end, Ross waited for the rescue team. We must protect the environment. The Earth is our home.